Now, in the midst of all this, the carbon tax got another run with mining entrepreneur Clive Palmer saying it's unconstitutional and that he's off to the High Court to prove it. He's not the wealthiest miner, but he's certainly the most litigious. He used to list litigation as his hobby. Here's a brief list of some of Clive Palmer's recent threatened or initiated actions. He claims to be running 68 zip in his favour, but I'm not sure that's right, actually, which is a batting average better than Dodd Bradman's, if it's true. So I guess that's it. No more carbon tax. It'll the barrister's best friend, Clive Palmer, is going to club it into submission. So where's the business community now on carbon tax?
Oh, clearly most...
Leaving aside Clive Palmer, which is...
Well, clearly most are opposed to it. I'm yet to meet someone who's in favour of any new tax. I mean, but you know, I think we've got to step back, and I think I was interested this week, the people from GE were talking. They had a big conference over in Brazil.
General Electric,
sorry. Yeah, and they're talking up Australia. But not only that, one of the things that they like is that there is a carbon tax, and they think that Australia is actually a trendsetter here because it's got a price on carbon. We can argue whether it's the right price, but at least it's made a step forward, and this is a positive for Australia. And there are companies in Australia, you could say Origin and the energy companies who also support it, but en masse, totally negative, I think. Yeah.
Mike, what are international investors saying about Australia's carbon tax?
Well, they've priced it at $23 a tonne, and Europe's between $5 and $10 a tonne. I mean, straight away the pricing's out. And as John says, no one likes to pay a tax anyway. And if you're a climate sceptic, you think it's silly anyway. So.
Sure. Yeah.
What a crazy sort of people we are. We're world traders, we import, we export, and we put a big tax, a small tax. I'd agree with GE, that a small tax that got us going, set a world trend, but didn't really affect anybody in a major way, would have been a really sensible thing to do. And the people who designed the government's carbon tax, that's exactly what they suggested. Instead of that, we get caught into a stupid argument with the Greens. The Greens say $23 a tonne. It's a silly figure. It will cost a lot of jobs,
But Mike, is there any evidence at all that the international investors are pulling their dough out of Australia? I mean, the Australian dollar has gone up since the carbon tax was announced.
I think it's fair to say that it's not a great focus, to be honest. But
so is it fair to say they don't care?
Well, it's just not on their radar screen at the moment. There are other issues. The Aussie dollar clearly is an issue, both positive and negative, depending on where you sit. And that's probably not being driven by the carbon tax. That's other factors such as interest rates and what have you.
Yes, but those interest rates and the carbon tax and the industrial relations legislation, they all combine. It's not... If all we did was the carbon tax, that might be one thing. But we've added on some of the highest interest rates in the developed world, an industrial relations policy which is different to everyone else, much less flexible, and then can't understand why there's so much retrenchment of people in capital cities.
Well, you can put that in a basket and call it incompetent government, because that's effectively what's happening.